Yeah, so the idea of free will is contingent on there being such a thing as a effect that did not have a cause. So if one can come up with a scenario where there is an effect, or rather something can happen, the concept simply being that can something happen without there being a cause for that thing to happen? Because in order for there to be free will, that would have to be the case. Because otherwise, everything is just a sequence of events, and therefore every thought is a result of another thought or another feeling or something that caused it, whether it be the outside or inner mind processes. But it's always there's a cause and an effect. So if you're hot, then you'll have thoughts related to temperature, and if somebody says something, you'll think about that, and if there's always a cause for your thought, and therefore there can be no free will, because free will would imply that somehow you're able to exist outside of this cause and effect sequence of actions and reactions. And one might say, though, that if life is a dream, an illusion, then just as in a dream, within the confines of that dream, there might be things that have no cause happen in that dream. And therefore, if this reality is a dream, then that could in fact then imply that you can in fact have an effect without a cause. Because, for example, in a dream you might suddenly feel like you might go from one thing happening to feeling like you're being baked alive by some primitive tribe of people, and in fact the cause of that wouldn't be coming from the context of the dream. It would be coming from the fact that you forgot that the heater is on, and you're actually, like, while sleeping there, the heater is on and it's making you feel like you're boiling alive, and just before you wake up you might have this sort of a dream of that some cannibals are boiling you alive or something. And therefore within the dream, it did not come from the dream, but it still came from something that influences the dream. And that may be so even in this, if this is an illusion, if this existence is a dream, but it still has a cause. And therefore it's, even though it's seeming to come out of somewhere else, it's still coming from a cause and effect sequence that might be outside of our perception. And so that further reinforces that concept that there is no free will, because to have free will you would have to suddenly just be able to not be reacting to the past, consciously or unconsciously, which is impossible, because everything that happens for a reason, and that reason, the cause of it, is the only reason why the effect happens. And to do anything outside of that, you'd have to somehow break that cycle of cause and effect, which you can't, because even if you suddenly decide to break the cycle of cause and effect and do something completely different than you thought you were going to do, well, that's only caused by the fact that you suddenly felt the urge to do something to prove to yourself that there was no cause and effect, which in fact is the cause and effect, ironically, in this scenario. So that's why I would definitely claim that there is no such thing as free will, as far as one being able to just decide something that one wasn't already predestined to do from the beginning of time, because it was just going to be a sequence of events before you have that thought to do something out of the sequence of events, which is always going to happen because you're always going to get bored and think that you would want to break this cycle of sequence of events. So that's in fact part of the sequence of events, is that you want to prove that there is no sequence of events and so forth. So I would definitely claim that there is no such thing as the kind of free will that people think, which is that they just can decide something, and that's somehow introducing a new way into the sequence of events that they were already on the trajectory to doing since eternity. Yeah, so that's my thing on free will.